What's going on, everybody? C4 here, and today we're doing another episode of the Realistic Rebuild. Still a little sick, still working over my bronchitis, so bear with me. My voice is not as on point and it's as essentialating as it is usually. But today we're taking a look here at the Dallas Cowboys. It's not a troll rebuild, it's not a Chip Kelly rebuild. I said at the beginning of this series I was going to do all 32 teams this year. No one's going to be left outside in the cold, and this series definitely was always going to be tough when I did the Giants, the Redskins, and Dallas, and New England, like the teams that no one likes. But, you know, now that Philadelphia's won a Super Bowl, it definitely makes doing the Dallas Cowboys a lot easier because Dallas is nowhere near being a Super Bowl caliber team right now. And I kind of feel like, you know what, I'm helping them out. Philly was able to go here this year, get the job done with a backup quarterback. I feel like my high intelligence, being an Eagles fan, should be able to help out this lowly Cowboys team and get them to the promised land. But in all seriousness, you know, this is a really good Madden team, and everyone knows that the Madden ratings guy is a Cowboy fan. There's a couple generous ratings that we're going to see, but all this is definitely not going to be an overly difficult rebuild, and we're going to try our best to get the Dallas Cowboys a Super Bowl ring that's not 20-some years old. You know, now if you're a Cowboy fan talking about your rings and all this stuff, it's like, what have you done for me lately? Like, I'm pretty sure the Jags had more playoff wins over the last 20 years than the goddamn Dallas Cowboys. So, but look at the roster here. We're starting out. We have Dak Prescott, 84 with that quick dev. We're going to see, man. We found out this year with no Ezekiel Elliott that Dak Prescott got exposed. He's not as good as people thought he was. And really, Zeke Elliott should have been the rightful offensive rookie of the year last year. But, I mean, I'm one of those in the minority, I would say, of people that don't like Dallas, don't like Dak, that thinks he's not as bad as people are leading to believe. I mean, he did play really bad down the stretch, but overall, as a season, it was like last year. It's like vice versa. It was like this was his rookie year, and last year was his sophomore year, kind of like Carson Wentz, where Carson Wentz's rookie year wasn't anything spectacular, but then his second year was great, so just invert the two. And I think that Dak will eventually be, like I said, man, when I was comparing him to an Alex Smith, that's what he is. He's an Alex Smith. There's nothing wrong with that. We saw what Alex Smith did this year with the Chiefs. He can put up some pretty good statistical numbers, but he's never going to be the guy that can put the team on his back. So we're going to be rocking and rolling here with Dak. I think we should be all right. Running the ball, obviously Ezekiel Elliott. He's a beast, 94 overall. What's his def? Superstar. I mean, there you go. Just laughable. He's going to go off. I put up Alfred Morris on the trade block just to see if we can get any value there. He's 82. He might get something. Looking at the wide receivers. Now, here's an area that I actually think is a big reason to blame for Dak's struggle. I think Dak obviously had his own personal struggles, but I think his wide receiver unit definitely was not helping them out. Des Bryant, on the fact that he's still a 91, I'm not going to complain because it's a rebuild, but he has one of the most overrated ratings in Madden for sure. He's definitely, you know, a shade of what he used to be. We have Williams here. We have Beasley, who's a good slot wide receiver. We have Ryan Switzer, a third or fourth round pick. They got the quick dev trait. See ya, EA ratings Cowboy fan guy. So I actually might be pressed to play Ryan Switzer sooner than later. But the wide receivers will definitely need to fix that. Again, for another overrated rating, Jason Witten with a 92. Jason Witten, I've said countless times, is one of the few Dallas Cowboys that I can actually respect. Him and DeMarcus Ware were like the two Cowboys that I was like, yeah, they're fine in my books. As, you know, as an Eagle fan. He's not a 92. Jason Witten is like an 82, 83. He's good on third downs. He has great route running still, but I mean, come on. 92? Are you kidding me? I will take it. But we're probably going to need, I don't know if, you know, we definitely don't have the replacement here. So we basically just need to rebuild this receiving core. Offensive line is sick. Tyron Smith for a 5-year rebuild. He's 26. He's perfect age, 90. We gotta need a left guard there at center, 26, perfect age, 95, 26, perfect age, 98. It's looking pretty good, man. We'll try to rock and roll here with Lael Collins. He has that quick dev already, so I assume we can probably get him up into the 80s. On the defensive front, we have DeMarcus Lawrence, who had an outstanding season last year. So he's a 95 right now. And I do know we're going to have to try our best to re-sign him, which I will. Taco Charlton, he's not the hottest rookie. You know, you can't hit on all your draft classes. Dallas, 2 years ago, your draft class was outstanding. This year is, We have Tyron Crawford, the Canadian, 83. Randy Gregory, probably the dumbest player in the NFL. I don't know how we're going to approach defensive end yet, but we'll wait and see. Defensive front, we have David Irvin, who's probably, from an outsider looking in, the most underrated player on the Dallas Cowboys. He's 24. He's an 85 overall. He's a massive human being at 6'7". So we'll see what we can resign him. And Malik Collins, the defensive tackle spot, looks pretty promising. For the linebacking core, weak. Pretty weak. Hitchens, 25-83. Maybe something there. Probably not. And then we have the great Shawn Lee. According to Skip Bayless, Shawn Lee would have stopped anthrax, 9/11, and all that stuff if he was there in New York on that day. But he's 31, so we're definitely going to hold on to him. But we have to start looking at a replacement. So much like our wide receiver core, I do think that our linebacking core needs to get fixed. In the secondary, not great overalls, but age is good. We have Jordan Lewis, who's an 80. We have Chidobe Awuzie, who's an 80. We have Anthony Brown, 23, 75. I mean, I'm going to gamble that these guys can develop into starting corners. I don't know if they have any generous dev traits. I don't have a generous dev trait, but we're going to roll them as our starters and just gamble with it. At free safety, we have Byron Jones, who actually, I think that's a little bit of lower rating. I think Byron Jones, great athlete. I think he's probably one of the better players, if not the best player in that secondary. But he's a 78, he's 24. We'll see what we can do. And at strong safety, we have Jeff Heath, but I moved Xavier Woods from free to strong because now he's 22, he's a 76. He's going to be our starter. So pretty much everyone in our secondary is young and has some upside. So we definitely have a plan in place. We need to improve our wide receivers, our tight ends, and our linebacking core. But it's good. It's not one of those rebuilds where I have to spend a lot of my heavy draft picks in the offensive line. So that being said, let's jump into year number 1 here. All right, here we got the midseason point. We got to talk about signing some dudes. I don't know how much cash we have. Oh my God, we have $70 million in cash. So DeMarcus Lawrence is coming back. David Irvin's coming back. I feel like Hitchens is an interesting one because he's 25 and he's already an 83. I'm gonna if he doesn't regress, that's still good enough to be a starting middle linebacker on a Super Bowl caliber team. So we'll resign these big 3 guys, and then still have plenty of cash to maybe make them. All right, here we are at season's end. At the end of year number 1, we have a playoff berth, 10-6 in the wild card, taking on one of the few teams that Dallas Cowboys fans will not want to see in the playoffs, and that is Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers. Let's see how well we did, though. Oh, second in the NFC East to them damn Eagles, right where they belong. Let's see, we're Cowboys. Let's talk nicely to the Cowboys. So Dak Prescott, almost 4,300 passing yards, 31 touchdowns, 10 picks. So that is really good numbers. 68 sacks. That makes no sense for this offensive line. That's really good. Probably top 5 offensive line in Madden. Running the ball, we have almost 1,400 yards, 12 TDs from Ezekiel Elliott, acceptable numbers. Receiving, we have 83 catches, 1,300 yards, 13 TDs from Dez Bryant. He can only dream of putting up those types of numbers nowadays. 875 and 8 from Terrence Williams. That's pretty good. Switzer, 852 and 4. Witten, 703. Pretty good. So who's shitting the bed here on the offense? That seems a little crazy to me. I'm going to be honest with you. Tyron Smith, yes, he had a down year in real life, but he's still top 5 left tackle. 27 sacks. Okay. We got 152 tackles from Hitchens, 139 from Justin March-Lillard, 113 from Chidobe Awuzie, 100 on the dot for Jordan Lewis. We got 18 sacks from DeMarcus Lawrence, 8.5 for Tyron Crawford, 8 from Malik Collins, 4 from Shawn Lee. We got 5 picks from Xavier Woods, 4 from Hitchens, 4 from Jones, 3 from Lillard, 3 from Awuzie, 3 from Lewis. So the receptions were actually crazy. This young secondary was being very productive. Looking at the yearly awards, MVP, I think I already saw, went to Ben Roethlisberger with, no one from Dallas making that list. And the NFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Aaron Rodgers, the man we're getting ready to take on this week, with Dak Prescott coming in at number 7. Defensive Player of the Year went to Brandon Graham with Hitchens at 2, Lillard at 3. But 18 sacks, this always feels pretty random. I mean, 18 sacks, DeMarcus Lawrence doesn't even make the short list. He's a little suspect. Mr. Biscuit, Mitchell Trubisky, coming Offensive Rookie of the Year, with Switzer coming in at number 9. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Reuben Foster with Xavier Woods at 3, Jordan Lewis at 4, Chidobe Awuzie at 5. Thank you very much, Madden's ratings guy, for giving very generous ratings to your young Cowboys. So now we are getting ready to jump into this wildcard playoff game. It's only year 1, so it will be a sim. See what happens. See if we can have a magical ride, or see if once again we're going to taste defeat at the hands of Aaron Rodgers and the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs. Alrighty, here we go. Let's see what Mr. Dak Prescott and this running game can do. We know the sim likes to run the ball a lot, so at least we have that going for us. And again, I don't know what's going on with Tyron Smith, so this offensive line is just not playing well, as we're now down 10-0. Our offense is struggling immensely, but it looks like we're putting something together here. We're in the red zone. Get a touchdown. They get a 3-point ball game. Defensive battle. Who would have thought a defensive battle here between the Cowboys and the Packers? But we're up 14-zip. Okay, controlling the clock, it looks like. Looks like there's a lot of accepting field position battles, which you absolutely cannot do here against Aaron Rodgers. We're able to get the go-ahead touchdown, 27-17. Our defense needs to make a stop, and Aaron Rodgers is making some magic, and we're gonna lose. And in typical Cowboys fashion, they cannot beat the Green Bay Packers in the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers got 3 touchdowns. I mean, not a bad showing. Dak Prescott, 254, 2 TDs, 81 yards from Ezekiel Elliott, 73 yards from Mr. Dez Bryant. But again, if we could just tell from the way that sim was going, you gave Aaron Rodgers like a minute and a half. And a minute and a half in the sim world, anyone that plays sim, a minute and a half, literally you might as well give them half the fucking quarter. So, yeah, we fell short on this one, but hey, at least we made the playoffs. It wasn't a down year. We did better than the Cowboys did in real life. Then again, we didn't have Zeke Elliott laying his hands on women and stuff like that. But I digress. We still made the playoffs, Cowboy fans. All right, it's a positive. It's a positive first step. We were able to re-sign all of our big dogs. We have plenty of cap room going forward. So, yay, let's have a good draft. Let's have a good offseason and bring it back for year 2. All right, so I really need a starting offensive lineman, especially at left guard. I have 3. One of them in the first round that looks really, really good here. And actually, it's right guard. I just converted him. 6'4" combine grade. But I've never seen an 8-1. I've seen plenty of 8s. I've been tagged on Twitter with plenty of 8s. I have never seen an 8-1, let alone linebacker. His, the C+ pursuit looks a little weak. But I just, whatever. We're going to go for it. Just look at that. 8-1, he's gonna be 70. There we go. That's actually pretty damn good. 78 superstar for Mr. Blake Anderson. He's the dude with like the afro from friggin' Workaholics. I guess he's now made the transition, went to Ohio State. He's now a superstar cover linebacker. But we gotta very cover. We need an outside linebacker just as much as we need a interior offensive lineman. So let's finish out the rest of this draft. But I just wanted to show you guys the legend that was the 8.1 outside linebacker. All right, so here is our draft recap, and we made our stud Blake Anderson. Decided not to go with the Workaholics dude. We made him Leighton Vander Esch from Boise State, 78 superstar dev, the 8.1 combine grade, which is absolutely absurd. Highest I've ever seen. Let me know if you've seen any 8.1s. Tag me in them on Twitter. But outside of like the crazy 87 overall superstar quarterback, which obviously the combine grades doesn't go up that high for him, I've never seen, even on Reddit, I've never gone on my way to look for it, but I've only seen 8s, never seen an 8.1. Anyways, and then in the second round, we got a 76 overall left guard with a quick dev. We made Timon Paris from Stony Brook, real prospect. And then in the third round, we got a 79 wide receiver, normal dev trait, which we made Jamon Moore from Mizzou. Definitely one of the sleeper wide receivers for the upcoming 2018 NFL draft class. The rest of the draft class was really bad by our standards. I was more so trying to hit on players that I thought we needed, but that's really bad by my standard. But top 3 are very much acceptable, and really all 3 of them probably will feature to be starters down the long run. So that being said, guys, now let's pop into year number 2. So as we get ready for year number 2, here is our roster. Things, definitely everyone's trending in the right direction. I think Dez actually took a hit, but everything else, Jamon Moore will start at wide receiver 3, Zeke's up to a 97, Dak's up to an 85. Witten took a little bit of regression from a 92 down to an 88. The offensive line, Martin's up to a 99, Frederick 95. Smith, who gave up almost 30 sacks, like one of the worst sack totals I've ever seen, is still a 91. Paris will be starting here at left guard. On the defense, definitely progression everywhere. Lewis went up +3. He's now at an 83. Wouzier up to an 82. Lawrence coming off a, 16 or 18 sacks last year, either or. He's now up to a 96. Vander Esch will be starting right outside linebacker. We got Woods up to an 80. That was a +4. I think he led the team with 5 interceptions last year. Shawn Lee with a 1-point hit. But ultimately, this is a team that's definitely better than what we had last year, and we still made the playoffs. So I expect, I'm prepared for us not to even make the playoffs, but it would be somewhat realistic to have playoff aspirations this season. So let's see where the Cowboys can get here in year number 2. This one's quick. It's contract time. We have decent amount of cap space left, so Zach Martin and Byron Jones will be getting their paychecks very, very quickly, and everyone else, you're role players. We don't need you that bad. And not surprising, really, as I said, didn't make the playoffs. Didn't even sniff the playoffs. Everyone on the offensive line played very bad, unless your name was Zach Martin. Looks like they changed our scheme up here. We wanted, well, Moore got 10,000 XP, which is very nice. 5-11, so tied for last in the NFC. Maybe Dak Prescott's not the guy. You know I'm going to get joy. This is like one of the very few rebuilds that if we don't even sniff the playoffs, sniff the Super Bowl, I'll probably be all right with it. You know, I won't lose sleep at night outside of my win-loss record here in the rebuilds in Madden 18. Not being up to par with what they were last year. Anyway, look at the regular season stats. 4,100 yards, 27 TDs, 11 picks for Dak. 60, man, the sacks make no sense. How is an offensive line that's 3/5, 95, like in the 90s? Oh, man, maybe we got to go with Cooper Rush here. We're going to run the ball, 1,200 yards, 8 TDs for Zeke. That's acceptable, I think. I think that's fairly acceptable. Dez had another great year, 81 catches, 1,200 yards, 8 TDs. Witten, 676 and 5. We got 825 and 7 from Jamon Moore. So, acceptable. How many, like, look at this, man. At least that's a little bit. I mean, 14 for Tyler Smith is a little high, and at least Lael Collins, I guess, could be considered the weak link on the offensive line. But that is a lot of sacks, man. I don't know. It makes no sense. Leighton Vander Esch, our rookie, went off. The superstar 8.1 combine grade, 152 tackles. 3 tackles were lost, 3 sacks, 141 from Hitchens, who had also had 4 interceptions. 112 from Xavier Woods, who also had 2 interceptions. 8 sacks from Malik Collins, 7 from Lawrence. So a 96 overall, getting 7 sacks is definitely not acceptable. 6 sacks here from David Irving. We got those 4 picks from Hitchens, 3 from Lewis, 2, 1. You know, still not terrible. I've seen much worse. I've seen playoff caliber teams get way worse than that. So the turnovers, especially in interceptions, have been fairly good for the Dallas Cowboys here. Look at the yearly awards. MVP went to Brady. Okay. The NFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Mr. Matthew Stafford. I'm not expecting to see. Well, Dak somehow, what? Doesn't make sense. Probably should not have been listed on that. Had 27 touchdowns. Defensive Player of the Year went to Mr. Aaron Donald. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to this random guy, with Jamon Moore coming in at number 3. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to Leighton Vander Esch. Clearly, this guy's an absolute stud. Studley the Dragon over here. But ultimately, of course, when things look good, Madden Sim makes, you know, prepare for the worst. So yeah, we have some guys that are really upset on the offensive line. We're gonna still gotta spend some XP, but I mean, I know we've got decent amount of cap space that we might be able to make some moves, but it doesn't make sense. It doesn't. I mean, it's only so much you can do when your 94 center has a terrible year and your left tackle, that's one of the best left tackles of this generation, is absolutely horrendous. But we'll get through it. We'll try to change some things up, fix some things here in the offseason, and make for a little bit more competitive year 3. But hey, I guess silver lining, we have a decent draft pick, right? 5-11, we probably have. I won't even look. We'll find out when we get there. But I expect we might have a top 10 pick, which could go a long way. But do we need to start thinking about quarterbacks? Yeah, maybe Dak's the reason why the offensive line's playing so bad. You know, maybe his blitz calls are bad and he's holding on to the ball too. Who knows? All right, so here's my draft class, and with Jason Witten retiring, pretty much had to take the best player available. I think 5 was a little high. Really good pick. That actually in all the rebuilds every season. That's one of the rare times we've had a top 5 pick. But yeah, I thought about trading back, but the next closest team was late in the first round, and I really wanted a tight end prospect. This guy looked can't miss. So depth trades, yeah, but he's an 80 overall tight end. We made it Caleb Wilson from UCLA. In terms of like future freak tight ends in college football, Caleb Wilson is right at the top. I think when I look at college football right now, you know, after this class, when the Mark Andrews and the Dallas Goederts are gone, I think Caleb Wilson, Isaac Nata, and you have this freshman tight end on Missouri that caught 11 touchdowns this year. Out of those 3, there's not, like, it's a weak tight end regime. This is not a good era for tight ends. But Caleb Wilson, before he got hurt at UCLA, man, he was putting up scary, like, wide receiver type numbers. So he's definitely, I think, the next tight end that's going to get legitimate, like, O.J. Howard going in the first round hype. So now we have him. He has big shoes to fill, filling in for Jason Witten. The second round, we get a 79 overall wide receiver, in which we made Felton Davis from Michigan State, 6'4", 193. Great speed. Obviously, probably wouldn't have that speed really in real life. I didn't want to modify the prospect too much. But Felton Davis is definitely going to be one of those guys that's going to be probably a first, second round wide receiver in the 2019 draft class. So we figure, you know, there's not a whole lot of 2019 draft class players left, but a guy like Felton Davis definitely deserves a mention. That's the last for the modified prospect, but, you know, where last draft was not so hot after the first couple picks. Really good depth. We got a 72 wide receiver, 77 right guard here in the 4th round, 76 center in the 5th round with a quick dev, 74 guard. We're just build up the offensive line in case any of these big-time guys that aren't really performing want to get paid big-time money. And you can be like, yeah, you know what? I probably could go with someone else. So there's our draft class. Let's jump into year 3. All right, so as we get ready for year number 3, again, like no one's regressing really now that, I mean, Des Bryant's down 1, but we got Felton Davis here, got Juan Moore, obviously with Dak and Zeke. Both of them have been going up at least a little bit. Zeke's a 98. We now have Wilson starting at tight end in replacement of Jason Witten, so there's a downgrade there. Offensive line, no one's got worse. Everyone's still got 390s, 199. Defense stays, you know, no regressions there. Irving's up a point. Lewis stays, actually Lewis is up, Lewis stayed the same, and Wuzier's up a point, so these guys still are young and developing. Wood's an 85, Vander Esch is an 86 already after that defensive rookie of the year performance. Shawn Lee's regressing a little bit, Byron Jones is up a point, but this is, I mean, 5-11 for this is like kind of the same team. I think we got a little hard done by, but again, you know, it's the Cowboys. I'll accept it for this one video getting robbed by the sim. But a team this good, I expect this year to be much more competitive in the playoffs. So let's. All right, so it's contract time, and you know we haven't seen any free agency period video yet in this rebuild. So because we haven't signed anyone, there hasn't been really anyone to sign. I guess it's kind of starting to pay dividends here because now we can re-sign some of these big time dogs. Ezekiel Elliott's gonna want 60 mil. Des Bryant, who in real life I think Dallas Cowboys should move on from. He's been without a doubt our best player on the offensive side of the ball. So he wants whatever money he's getting, he's coming back. He's playing well in the sim. Dak Prescott wants 67 mil. We're going to try to pay him. Shawn Lee, we don't have a replacement yet, so we obviously got to keep Mr. I Can Stop 9/11. Jet fuel doesn't melt steel beams. Shawn Lee. Same with Malik Collins. I think Lael Collins, like after this, they could probably go. Even though he's a starter, he's definitely replaceable. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 big-time players. It's going to take it down. How much do we have here? We almost at 80 million, so we're going to be fine. But let's get these guys signed up. And I don't know if we're gonna make the playoffs. We're sitting at a 4-4 record, or 3-4 record. And in year number 3, another playoff drought has continued. And on top of that, Mr. Dak Prescott was the only player I was unable to re-sign. He gave me that I'd rather test out free agency. Fine, I've seen plenty. This is gonna be. You're not getting the job done. You're literally sacked Prescott. You're getting sacked 70 times behind this offensive line. Something needs to get done. Some change needs to happen. So, I mean, we might panic. We might say that, oh, my God, there's no other quarterbacks. We need to jump on one in free agency or pay him what other people are in a bidding war. Or we draft one. I'm fine right now. He's not giving me the kind of production that I need as we're bottom dwellers once again, 5-11. As much as this is kind of giving me joy a little bit, not only because obviously I hate the Cowboys, but because the Cowboys rating guy gave so much, you know, bullcrap ratings that they suck in the sim mode. But this is not a 5-11 team. Back-to-back 5-11 team. This is like an 87, 88 overall roster. Should not be doing that bad. Dak Prescott, I mean, that's not terrible. But literally, he's getting 60-plus sacks a season. And this is like the best offensive line, regarded the reputation of the best offensive line in football. But in reality, this is still, like, in Madden terms. This is, for rebuilds, this is, like, above average. Well above average for overall. But 4,500 passing yards, 31 TDs, 17 picks. I mean, that's not terrible. That's not enough to pay him almost the $100 million that he wanted, but it's not terrible. 1,300 yards, 11 touchdowns here for Mr. Zeke Elliott. Des Bryant continuing to go off. 96 catches, 1,400 yards, 10 TDs. We got 850 and 10 from Juan Moore. Felton Davis, almost 905. Caleb Wilson, 650 and 3. I mean, those are all pretty acceptable numbers. Who crapped the bed here again? Oh my God, 28 sacks, Tyron Smith. What is going on? 150 tackles from Anthony Hitchens, 3 picks to his name, 122 from Shawn Lee, who we were able to re-sign, and 2 picks to his name. Sacks are back up after, I think the most sacks we had last year was 7. 15 and a half here for DeMarcus Lawrence, 7 from Malik Collins. We have 3 picks, Anthony Hitchens, 2 there. Whoa, what is that? We have injuries off, and why is our freak superstar linebacker only getting 32 tackles? What's wrong with this scheme here? Don't quite know that. What's going on there? Someone got some splaining to do. But, yeah, the sim's wonky, I guess. Player of the Year awards MVP went to Russell Wilson. We had no one. And the NFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Russell Wilson. We had no one. Defensive Player of the Year went to Luke Kuechly, with Anthony Hitchens coming in at number 10. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to this dude on the Bucks. I assume a quarterback, Gerald Burge. With Felton Davis coming in at number 4, Caleb Wilson at number 6. So good production from our rookies. Defensive Rookie of the Year. Oh my God, the Bucks sweep him with an 84 and an 83 respectively. Genius. It's not how you spell genius, but we're going with that. And we had no one show. I don't even think we drafted a freaking defender. So, yeah, another good draft pick. And I guess, let's see actually what's our draft pick going to be looking like. If we have to pull the trigger on a quarterback, do we have an opportunity to do so? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have the 6th pick in the draft. So if there is one of those juicy 80-some, 85, 86, 87 overall quarterbacks, they always go top 3. So, yeah, I mean, maybe we'll be able to get a Carson Wentz or something crazy like that in free agency. Wentz has been a free agent for some reason with regularity. So, yeah, let's go to the offseason. There's a part of me that feels absolutely disgusting for doing this. But, so yeah, we're going to throw some money at Tyreek Hill. And then this other guy here. Obviously, Dak Prescott is not a good quarterback. He is not good enough in Madden. He's not good enough in real life. So, in the unbelievable, unrealistic scenario that Carson Wentz gets let go by the Philadelphia Eagles, because Nick Foles is actually on the market as well, we might as well get Carson Wentz in, a real quarterback to do what Dak Prescott cannot. So, we are shuffling out over, I think it was almost $157 million over 6 years to make Carson Wentz one of the richest quarterbacks in football. Because if Dak can't do it, might as well make it Wentz can. And like I said, look, I'm leading bid on both these guys by a big amount. And clearly, I mean, for Carson Wentz, as much as I hate the Cowboys, if you have to pick between the Broncos, who are now super old, or the Browns, if it's the Browns, you're probably going to take Dallas in this scenario. But, you know, the last couple rebuilds I've done, we've got shafted in free agency. So let's see if we can sign either one of those guys. Obviously, Carson Wentz would be the massive one. And we're able to get them both. So in this just terrible timeline that I don't even want to think about, Tyreek Hill, welcome to the team. Carson Wentz is now the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys after we offered Dak the money too. He has been underperforming, and we still offered him the money to come play. So at least we have our thumbnail player and our thumbnail font and your title of it. I can't even comprehend it. Carson Wentz is everything about that looks disgusting. It's a rebuild though. Focus on the rebuild. I don't want another loss on the rebuild column. We have way too many losses this year, and Wentz can get the job done, we hope. So let's jump into it. And we still have a top six pick to help him out. Alright, so here's our draft class, and once again, we're almost top 5, fringe top 5 picks back to back, which is a first here in this year's rebuilds. But we need to get better on the defensive side, obviously adding Tyreek Hill and Carson Wentz in free agency. That was more so the focus there. So in the first round with pick 6, we get an 81 overall defensive end. Normal dev trait, so we're not getting blessed with both. But we made it Curtis Weaver from Boise State, real prospect. This guy here put up absolutely insane numbers as a true freshman, so we're going to welcome him. Plus, you know, you kind of have the Boise line of players from that school on the Dallas Cowboys, was, you know, Tyron Crawford and DeMarcus Lawrence. So welcome to the squad. In the third round here, we got a new starting right tackle for layout columns. We made it Matt Womack from Alabama, 76 overall normal dev. Nothing too special. But here's what we did. I kind of wanted a D-tackle. This guy's not a scheme fit, 6'4", 320. We made him Jeffrey Simmons, who's regarded as the top defensive tackle for the 2020 draft class. So I already know what happens. But let's watch what happens when you make him a defensive tackle. So he's not a nose tackle. He'd be kind of a more against the run, I suppose. So we're gonna make our 79 defensive end a straight up D tackle. What is he? What happens here? What's he gonna do? Oh, he's just an 84 overall, and just turns into one of the best defensive tackles I've ever seen. So welcome to the squad, Jeffrey Simmons, 84 overall. So there's a low key hint for you. I know it's fairly well known. But if you need a D tackle, if you need a D tackle and you're in a 4-3, just look at pretty much everyone. Everyone that's a defensive end, defensive tackle falls into that category because you can get sick buffs. He's 84 and he has a 63 awareness. That is absolutely absurd. If you had a superstar dev trade or something crazy like that, he'd be a 95 in a year. But welcome to the team. Good draft class. Great offseason. We're going big year 4. All right, so here's our team as we get to number 4. And at quarterback, we have Carson. I know I'm still getting over bronchitis and all that stuff, but Carson Wentz, the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. Ugh. Carson Wentz is the quarterback of this team. With Ezekiel Elliott now to a perfect 99. We actually drafted, I didn't even show it, we drafted the 6th fullback. We got the 82 overall rookie fullback. I guess he could help out. Now with Tyreek Hill, Des Bryant, who's actually been dominating in the sim, is now wide receiver 2, but our wide receiver core now, Jamon Moore, 83, on point. Offensive line, again, 99, 95, still have 89 for Tyron Smith, even though he's been absolutely horrendous. Timon Paris is an 81, Matt Womack, 76. Offensive line is definitely not perfect, but still, hope to God Wentz can do better than what Dak did. On the defensive front, Simmons is now an 86 in the scheme. That is absolutely absurd for a second-round draft pick. That was a defensive end. Weaver will be starting as well. Our corner development has kind of stunted a little bit. They pretty much had a big boom after year 1, and since then hasn't done much. Woods up to an 86. Van Der Esch, who did literally, for some reason, got no stats in the sim, with an 87. You know what I'm gonna do here? I'm not gonna go through it. I'm actually, just because I don't know, maybe they use the right middle linebacker on this whatever scheme they have. I'm gonna switch Shawn Lee with Van Der Esch because obviously 87 Van Der Esch is gonna be more productive, just in case that's something wonky going on in the sim. But yeah, let's see what Carson Wentz can do for this Dallas Cowboy football team. And at midseason point, come to contract time. Xavier Woods, I didn't even know he got this, I assume. Hey, thanks. Superstar depth trait, he's an 86. He'll come back. Same with the Wouzier and Lewis. They all get very nice bucks. For Dan Bailey, still haven't got over the time he tried to fight DeMarco Murray on the sidelines when DeMarco was on the Eagles, so he's not coming back. So we're just going to sign these 3 dudes. And here we are at season's end, and still didn't make the playoffs. At least there's not a bunch of negatives. There's the positive, and Wentz looked like he did decent. Whoa, why are they so bad? Oh, never mind. So I thought we were the Giants. 9-7. We're still 3rd in the NFC. I mean, 9-7 is respectable. I guess we could do a quick comparison of Wentz and Dak to see who did better. Oh my God, it definitely was. Look at those numbers from Wentz. And look at the sacks. There you go. Carson Wentz would do better in Dallas than Dak Prescott did. Proven fact. Madden does not lie. No fake news. 4,500 passing yards, 42 touchdowns, 16 picks. Only got sacked 29 times. It's the exact same offensive line with actually a downgrade at right tackle. So that just proves that Dak Prescott, I don't know. It's proof. I don't know what that means. Does he just can't play beyond the offensive line? Is he holding on the ball too long? Those are really good numbers from Carson Wentz. I assume our defense let us down big time here. We got 1,400 yards, 10 TDs from Zeke. Acceptable. This is a prolific offense. Putting up 40-some touchdowns and having that for your running back. 87 catches, 1,200 yards, 13 TDs for Tyreek, 850 and 8 from Dez, 1,108 from Jamon Moore, 505 from Caleb Wilson. Look at that, Jesus, okay. On the defensive side, we got 136 tackles from Hitch and 115 from Leighton Vander Esch. We got not a whole lot of sacks. I mean, 8.5 from Jeffrey Simmons, 8 from David Irving, 6.5 from DeMarcus Lawrence. So seems like our record seems to correlate with DeMarcus Lawrence a little bit. And on the interception front, we got 5 picks, Vander Esch, 5 from Lewis, 3 from Hitchens, 3 from Awuzie, 2 from Lee, 1 from Woods. So again, man, the interceptions have stayed very high throughout this rebuild. All acceptable number. Man, this is very surprising with these kind of... Well, everything's been surprising as to why we have yet to make the playoffs, especially with numbers like that. Looking at the yearly awards, MVP went to Leonard Fournette. Carson Wentz, the runner-up. I don't think you're going to see Dak. Oh, big surprise. Dak Prescott doesn't even make the short list. The NFC Offensive Player of the Year went to Carson Wentz. Okay. Defensive Player of the Year went to this guy, Russell Tucker. Anthony Hitchens coming in at number 4. Vander Esch at number 6. Offensive Rookie of the Year went to a Philadelphia 2 Eagles. Okay. I see you, Philadelphia. Defensive Rookie of the Year went to a 49er. Jeffrey Simmons coming in at number 2. We got Curtis Weaver at 7. So, I mean, statistically, well, this should be good. I don't know how 9-7. This is not 9-7 stats. Let's just see if we can find Dak Prescott real quick, just so we can see if we can get a quick comparison. We didn't do the straight-up switch. He didn't go to the Philadelphia Eagles and replacing Carson Wentz, which might happen in real life. I wonder if he even got signed anywhere. So we know we got 42 touchdowns for Carson Wentz. Where do you think he went? Jets? No, we already passed them. Alex Smith, Kirk Cousins is still with them. My God, did Dak not even get a job? Is Dak Prescott still a free agent? That'd be kind of laughable. Vikings. Okay, let's just see. Let's just use this. Dak Prescott. Where are you, Mr. Dakota Prescott? He's the Bills quarterback, and he had 21 touchdowns, 13 picks, going up against Carson Wentz and his 42 touchdowns. That's all we need to say about this subject matter. But still, at the end of the day, no matter what we do with Wentz, 9-7 is not good enough, man. We haven't made the playoffs since year 1, and now we're going into a Super Bowl or bust time here in year number 5. But our team is absolutely stacked, and hopefully. We got some decent XP, too, to boost up some of these guys. So, hopefully, we can make a run of it. Let's jump into the offseason. All right, here in the offseason, we had enough money to pretty much make one. I thought about just making this simply ridiculous and having 299 overall running backs. It will be like a thin realism because maybe Kamara's always been a pairing. And that could have been a freak pairing. But I figured, why not actually go with what would be a big-time upgrade, and that would be trying to land a Dwyer Jackson in our secondary. Of course, as always, it seems like a glitch. Oddly enough, it's the two teams. The Redskins and the Dolphins always pay an absurd amount of money when it comes to free agency. So we basically went in with all of our salary cap. As you can see, we have less than $200,000. I really hope the salary cap takes a hit for your draft picks, or else we're going to be in the red trying to get in for your number 5. But I definitely think we should be able to land a Dwyer Jackson. He's, a big-time upgrade here on our cornerback. Even though, like I said, the turnovers, especially in the interception, stuff like that, have been very good in the secondary. Might as well add a little bit more ammunition there to help out the sim. And we're able to land them, so let's just pop it in the draft, which is pretty much just going to be filling in holes. And then year 5, Super Bowl or bust time. Here's a quick look at our draft recap as well. This is just the rule of thumb. In year 5, going into year 5, I straight up just draft for where I don't have depth. And we killed it for the most part. In the first round, we needed a strong safety, just add competition. We get an 81 overall Sylvester Barr here from Ohio State. Normal dev in the second round. We get a 79 overall middle linebacker with a superstar dev trait. Thank you very much. We get a 74 free safety here in the third round. 72 guard. Bottom draft sucked, but the first 2 picks were absolute home runs. And, actually, we might actually have a new contender. I think he could bounce at the free safety spot. I wonder what his rating's going to fluctuate. Mr. Byron Jones. So we'll see what can happen there. But ultimately, this is our draft class. Let's get into year 5. All right, so here's our roster in our 5th and final year. Everything pretty much stays the same. Des took a little bit of hit, but literally everyone else on the offensive side stayed as is or got better. So this was an offense that, Zeke and Carson Wentz both had outstanding seasons, so I expect that to continue. On the defensive front, again, pretty much the exact same. Everyone stayed as is, minus really Shawn Lee. Van Der Esch is up to a 90 overall. Woods is an 87. Simmons, 87. Weaver only an 82. A little bit disappointing there. But, of course, the big name free agent that we're able to sign is Dwyer Jackson, 88 overall. We are welcoming him to the secondary that's actually been pretty potent for the first 4 years of this rebuild. And now it's Super Bowl or bust time, so we're just going to sim straight to the end of the season and hope to God we can make the playoffs. Because if not, we've had some... I don't think this team's ever been below an 85 overall, like base overall. Like the year 1, we were an 86. And I wouldn't have think with all the roster we've had, like might have dipped 1 point. But when you look at this team, I wish there was an easy way to check that out. But I'm going to say, looking at this roster, we're probably a 90. Between 88 and 91, I would say, overall. So it would be really, really disappointing when all is said and done saying we only have 1 wild card appearance in 5 years. But, I mean, there definitely is deep down somewhere that I'd be like, Dallas. So let's see what happens here at the end of year number 5. Hopefully we can make one little playoff push. Because, I mean, actually, before we even do that, usually Dallas is a team that, like, can do well in the sim. Like, I've seen Dallas go to the playoffs, and obviously in some rebuilds, I got a little sick to my stomach. Dallas has won the Super Bowl in the sim. They're not a team that usually struggles with the sim, so I'm not exactly sure what is going on here. I'm not so, so easily convinced that we can lump them into the cursed teams in Madden 18, but it might be that way because this has been some talented teams that consistently fit. All right, well, the good news is I didn't have to play with the Dallas Cowboys. The bad news is, did not fully had 1 playoff appearance. This team did not make the playoffs. Looking at the thing, bought 6. So there's something wrong here, man. This is not a 6-10 team. If there's injuries, and yeah, every year we're getting robbed of injuries, I could say yes, that might be the scenario. There's no injuries. Where's the weak link? When you look at this, like, okay, the right tackle's the only guy on the offense that's below an 80 that's starting. And on the defense, we don't have anyone below an 80 as well. bunch of A's. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 A's. Grades, A grades on this team for the 22 starters. 1, 2, 3, 4, I think 5. 5 of them are A pluses. And you know what? Maybe it comes back to Jason Garrett, one of the most overrated coaches in football. Taking a look here at the stats, Carson Wentz, my God, almost breaking the passing yard record. Almost 5,300 passing yards, 35 touchdowns, 18 picks, sacked 35 times. All acceptable numbers for a, at least a playoff bounty. Like, those aren't numbers of a 6 and 10 ball club. Running the ball, 1,600 yards and 16 touchdowns for Ezekiel. Like, this is almost as good of offensive numbers I've seen outside of running like a cheesy spread offense that we've had in a rebuild. Pass receiving, Juwan Moore went off, 94 catches, almost 1,500 yards, 13 TDs, 1,200 yards, 4 TDs for Tyreek, 790 and 7 from Caleb Wilson, almost 904 for Dez. On the defensive front, we got 132 tackles, Shawn Lee, 131 here for Hitchens. Something wonky's going on the sim, because why is my 90 linebacker every other year only getting 30-some tackles? That makes no sense. We got 14 sacks from DeMarcus Lawrence, so we had like our dominant guy that could get after the quarterback. 5 sacks from Irving. I guess there wasn't much of a supporting cast. And the secondary, I mean, I guess the interceptions are probably as low as they've been in any year. 3 for Lewis, 2 for Hitchens Woods. Nothing for, only 1 pick from Adoree Jackson, 69 tackles. Ha! There's a joke in there somewhere. Yearly awards, MVP went to Morgan Buckley, with Carson Wentz not even making it. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense. In the NFC Offensive Player of the Year went to this guy, Griffin Kuberski, with Zeke at 4, Wentz at 5. Defensive Player of the Year, the random dudes, no Cowboys, Offensive Rookie, whatever, doesn't really matter because we didn't win. And yeah, that has been the rebuild of the Dallas Cowboys. As much as it doesn't pain me to say that they pretty much get stomped by the Eagles every year in the NFC East, and they've been bottom dwellers, it is still a little frustrating that, we not wasted, obviously. This is definitely, for everyone on this channel, Dallas, the Cowboys rebuild was always going to be a little bit of a hot take because no one wants to watch it. You might definitely get some enjoyment of this, because no matter what we did, no matter how freakishly good of a team we built, they still failed. So deep down somewhere in the pits of all your guys' stomachs that aren't Cowboy fans, because I know there are a decent amount of Cowboy fans that are subscribed and watch my videos, you probably got some enjoyment of this. And like I said, ultimately, silver lining for me is that even though my rebuilding skills are certainly frustrated with the Madden game and everything in this save, I didn't have to play a game with the Dallas Cowboys. And more importantly, I didn't have to play a game with the Dallas Cowboys with Carson Wentz as my quarterback. So, a little bit of a win there, but ultimately, it just goes to show you that the sim is just really, really crazy. And I don't know if something's happened. I know after the last Madden update, they messed up like the trade meter in franchise mode. And some people have asked me to make a video on that. I don't know if I want to put any more targets on my channel from the EA people, because someday people, I'd love a little bit of early access, so that in June, July, I don't have to just data mine to get any sort of edge in over the other channels. But I don't know, maybe they tweaked with franchise and they wanted to add a couple more teams that you just can't win with. But this has been the rebuild of the Dallas Cowboys. So if you guys have a suggestion of what team you want to see me rebuild next, we still have the Broncos, Vikings, Bucks, Falcons, Rams, and I want to take a take at the Vegas Raiders. Those are the teams remaining, so let me know in the comment section below. As always, if it's your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button. Smash the like button if you enjoyed seeing the Dallas Cowboys fail at every turn. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.